North Korea's nuclear program was crippled by a scientist who never left his lab. He never transmitted a single classified file, never crossed a border, never met a CIA handler, never received payment, never passed secrets to foreign intelligence. He simply went to work every day and made sure nothing worked quite right. For 13 years, North Korea's nuclear enrichment program suffered mysterious failures. Centrifuges spun slightly off balance. Bearings wore out too quickly. Calibration systems drifted without explanation. Enrichment yields consistently missed expectations. Entire facilities underperformed despite billions in state funding. The regime blamed sanctions, foreign sabotage, bad materials, technical incompetence. But the real reason walked through the gates of Yongbyon every morning at 7:10 a.m., carrying a metal lunch container and government-issued identification. His name was Dr. Kim Sung-min, one of the most brilliant centrifuge engineers in North Korea, and according to his own later confession, the man who quietly sabotaged the country's nuclear ambitions from inside the program itself, without ever becoming a spy, without ever leaving his laboratory, and without anyone suspecting him for 13 years. Kim Sung-min was born in 1978 in North Hamgyong Province. His father worked in industrial metallurgy. His mother taught mathematics. Even as a child, Kim displayed a terrifying level of precision. At age 10, he repaired a broken village irrigation motor after adult mechanics failed to diagnose the problem. At 14, he built a functioning turbine model from discarded factory components. At 16, he ranked among the highest mathematics scores in the province. The state noticed him immediately. And in North Korea, when the state notices intelligence, your future no longer belongs entirely to you. By 19, Kim had been selected for elite technical education reserved for strategic military programs. That was the first moment he realized something unsettling. The smartest people in the country were not building prosperity. They were building weapons. Uranium enrichment is one of the most difficult engineering challenges on Earth. A centrifuge spins uranium gas at impossible speeds. Small imperfections become catastrophic. A vibration almost too tiny to measure can destroy an entire cascade. Temperature fluctuations matter. Metal fatigue matters. Microscopic balance differences matter. That is why centrifuge engineers are among the most valuable scientists in any nuclear program. And Kim Sung-min was exceptional. By 2005, he had become one of the youngest senior centrifuge specialists inside Yongbyon. Supervisors trusted him completely. He was disciplined, precise, emotionally controlled, the perfect scientist for the regime. But privately, Kim had begun noticing something the government never discussed. Outside military facilities, ordinary people were starving. Children suffered malnutrition. Entire provinces lacked electricity. Factories collapsed while nuclear funding expanded. And slowly, an impossible thought entered his mind. What if the program never succeeded? In late 2008, Kim attended a classified internal presentation discussing projected nuclear expansion targets. Charts displayed estimated warhead growth, projected deterrence capability, long-term military positioning. Senior officials spoke proudly, but Kim could not stop staring at one particular number: the projected cost. The amount of national resources required was almost unimaginable. That night, Kim later said, he understood something terrifying. The nuclear program would eventually consume the entire country. And that was the moment he made a decision. Not emotional, not impulsive, cold, mathematical, permanent. He would stop it himself. Kim understood something intelligence agencies had known for decades. Complex systems rarely fail dramatically. They fail slowly, quietly, plausibly, and the best sabotage never looks like sabotage at all. It looks like ordinary technical difficulty. So Kim began introducing microscopic inefficiencies, a calibration recommendation slightly outside optimal tolerance, a procurement suggestion favoring materials that degraded faster under long-term rotational stress, minor design preferences that subtly increased vibration instability. Each decision looked technically defensible. No single adjustment appeared suspicious. But together, the cumulative effect was devastating. Centrifuge efficiency declined by fractions of a percent. Rotor fatigue increased. Mechanical instability spread gradually across enrichment cascades. Nothing catastrophic happened. The system simply never performed as well as it should have. The genius of Kim's sabotage was not merely causing problems. It was becoming the person trusted to solve them. Whenever a cascade failed, Kim assisted repairs. Whenever yields dropped, Kim helped investigate. Whenever systems destabilized, Kim proposed corrections. That made him invaluable. And invaluable people are rarely suspected, especially in authoritarian systems desperate for success. Over time, Kim mastered a terrifying balance. Create enough inefficiency to delay progress, fix enough problems to remain trusted. He later described it during his IAEA debrief. I became the man they depended on to manage the problems I quietly designed. North Korea's security apparatus was ruthless. Technical failures triggered investigations. Engineers disappeared. Interrogations were common. Kim lived inside permanent fear. Not fear of death. Fear of exposure. Because exposure meant his family would suffer too. His wife. His younger sister. Former professors. Anyone connected to him, so he trained himself emotionally. He stopped reacting visibly to inspections, stopped showing frustration, stopped displaying anxiety. Coworkers described him as emotionally empty, but privately the pressure was destroying him. He developed insomnia, migraines, hand tremors. Some nights he reportedly slept less than 2 hours. Yet every morning, he returned to the lab and continued. By 2012, senior officials inside the enrichment program were becoming frustrated. Targets continued to fail. Projected output numbers never aligned with expectations. Entire enrichment cascades underperformed. Despite massive investment. Internal reviews blamed sanctions, poor imported materials, manufacturing inconsistency, foreign contamination. Nobody considered the possibility that the problem was human. Because Kim Sang-min had become one of the most respected engineers in the facility. That was his shield. Competence. The better he became at solving visible problems, the less anyone questioned the invisible ones. In 2018, Kim quietly began planning something he never truly expected to survive. Escape. Not because he hoped for freedom, but because eventually someone smarter might notice the pattern. And if that happened, he wanted the truth to leave the country before he died. Using industrial inspection assignments near coastal regions, Kim slowly established contact routes through fishing networks, operating near disputed maritime zones. Tiny conversations, careful favors, no politics. Over 4 years, he built a fragile escape path without ever openly discussing defection. It was painfully slow. But eventually, one fishing captain understood exactly what Kim was asking. By 2021, pressure inside Yongbyon had intensified dramatically. Leadership demanded answers. Large-scale technical audits expanded. Performance reviews deepened. Investigators examined procurement patterns. For the first time in 13 years, Kim became afraid someone might finally see the larger pattern. Because individually, every decision looked reasonable. But together, the statistical improbability was becoming difficult to ignore. Kim later said, "I realized eventually someone would ask why every failure moved in the same direction." That was when he knew his time inside the program was ending. In March 2022, Kim disappeared during a coastal inspection assignment. For 48 hours, North Korean authorities could not locate him. Then, intelligence services in Seoul quietly received confirmation. One of North Korea's senior centrifuge engineers had defected. Alive, the operation remained secret for months because nobody fully understood what Kim actually knew. That changed after the debrief began. Western intelligence expected stolen files, blueprints, schematics, photographs. Instead, Kim arrived carrying almost nothing. No hidden drives, no copied documents, no classified archives, because he had never been a spy. His greatest weapon had always been memory. For 11 months, IAEA engineers questioned him. Hour after hour, day after day, and slowly an extraordinary picture emerged. Many unexplained technical inefficiencies observed for years suddenly made sense. Rotor instability, bearing degradation, calibration drift, unexpected vibration harmonics. They had not been random. They had been engineered by one man, working completely alone. Toward the end of one technical session, an investigator asked Kim a simple question. "Why didn't you contact foreign intelligence?" Kim reportedly sat silently for several seconds. Then he answered, "Because spies are discovered." The room became completely quiet. Then he added the sentence that later circulated privately across intelligence communities around the world. "I never needed to be a spy." A pause. "I just needed to be very good at my job." Another pause. "And very precise about being slightly bad at it." North Korea never publicly acknowledged Kim Sung-min's existence. No public trial. No official statement. No confirmation. Inside the regime, it was easier to erase him than explain him. Because his story revealed something terrifying. The greatest threat to authoritarian systems is not always invasion from outside. Sometimes it is a patient, intelligent man sitting quietly inside the machine, making sure the machine never fully works.